Well, our audience today is leaving our farmer's market with some fresh corn for everybody in the audience. It's really, really good stuff. Thanks to Sherway Farmer's Market for all of that. Enjoy. There's nothing like fresh corn in the summer. It's amazing. You roast it, you can boil it, whatever you want.
Just corn, nothing else for dinner.
Corn and pastries. What are we going to make?
Well, you know, we're going to the farmer's market. We got all these jams going around. Well, what are we going to do with these jams? So I thought, let's do a really, really quick pie dough. So pie dough is, what I've done is I've put flour and shortening on the mixer.
Your very fancy mixer. I love it.
This is my home mixer that my wife bought me. Yes. A little bit of brown sugar.
Okay.
A little bit of salt. And then just add a little bit of water just to dissolve it. Now, only add a little bit of the recipe of the water, because the important thing with doughs is you need to be able to control the amount of moisture you add into it. And then simply what you would do is just bring this down, slowly turn it on slow so you don't end up wearing the flour.
Okay, good.
And then you just gradually bring it in.
Little by little.
Yeah. You can see I need a little bit more water to get my sugar going.
Okay.
Yeah. And what happens is it just slowly starts to come together. Now, this is where I think people go wrong, is they think that they add the ingredients and it's going to go poof into dough.
Kind of. It doesn't work that way, right?
You've got to kind of, you know, take your time, but then when you get to the stage where it's still a little wet, that's when you want to take it out and actually just form it into some cling film and let it chill. Okay? Chilling is huge on a dough. Like this, like look at this, it's still a little wet, looks, you know, kind of tough. No, it's great. You just form that in cling film, chill it down, and you end up with that. That's how easy it is.
And how long have you put that in the fridge for?
You know, you got to think. I mean, and if you roll it into a big ball, it's going to take longer. If you roll it flat, the one thing I always say is when I'm working with any doughs is always make them flat like that, because when they come out hard, they're easy to roll.
Ah,
with the ball like this, and you got to get down to there.
Yeah, forget it.
So then the other thing is when you're working with that is always work from the fridge, bring it out, roll it, and I've lined a dough here, a tart here, and just lined it down, and then I've chilled that again. But it's as easy as working with pie dough. So how are we going to incorporate the jam? I've taken it, I've blind baked it, so I lined it with some parchment paper, with some beans or rice, just baked it for about, you know, about 12 minutes in a low oven, just to get a nice crust. This is ready to eat.
What do you put the beans or rice on it for?
Well, if you don't, it'll actually bubble up and you don't get a nice flat surface.
Oh, just for, so it keeps the
shape. Like, and you can save those. A lot of people have them in little jars and they just kind of put the parchment on and off you go.
Okay.
But this is where the jam comes in, because come on, why not? When you were making your jam,
so good.
Why set it in a jar, you know?
Strawberry rhubarb pie.
Yeah.
Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah, for sure. And then we're going to throw some either ice cream on top, or meringue on top, or whipped cream, or ice cream, meringue, and whipped cream on top. You know? But the great thing is, you know, you got to remember that all that boiling in the jar, the thing for the jar, is actually to preserve it for long term. But your jam, once it's cooked, is ready to go.
That's right.
So you can put it in a tart like that, set it up in the fridge, and you got a nice little strawberry tart.
That is so good! Nice little strawberry tart. Well, listen, while we're here, Jace, we got a question for you. We get a lot of questions in via email and Facebook and all these other ways. This is a viewer named Darlene. So she wants to incorporate flours, like gluten-free flours. Flours like buckwheat, quinoa, something else that's good for you other than bean flours or rice flours. And she says she just loves the show, which is very nice.
Thank you very much.
And the question is for Chef Parsons.
Oh, perfect.
But she wants the guy with all of his teeth, apparently.
That was last week's show.
Yeah,
That was last week's show. And now I got flour on my face. But you know, buckwheat flours and all these different types of flours now, they're all over the market. They're so much better for you. We are getting a lot of people that are gluten celiac, and it's very important to be aware of that. When it comes to your recipes, you can substitute those flours. Not a problem. The one thing you have to adjust, though, is the liquid. Sometimes it can get a little bit too moist. So like what I did with the water, if I was doing this with a buckwheat flour, I might end up having to add a little bit more water, or a little less, depending, you know. And so you really want to actually substitute your recipe exactly as it is, do all the dry ingredients exactly the same, but then use the tip I just said of adding a little bit of water until it gets to the point where it starts to form a dough. And you're ready to go.
All right, so just you sort of use your common sense, if you have any. I don't have a lot of that in the kitchen.
You don't have to use all the water, because
don't use all of it, or use a little bit, whatever
flowers are different.
works.
They absorb different amounts of moisture.
Okay, beautiful. All right, let's